Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ and Sons and our new Planet Coaster series that we are really actually starting over on Twitch. So what we're doing is we're taking the streams and we are moving it over here to stream it on Twitch and then putting up the recorded videos on YouTube so you can kind of see what we're doing and keeping in line with the park build. So what we've got going right here at this point is we are looking at our entranceway. We did build that in the last episode. For the most part, got a lot of the detailing and stuff finished off camera. But this is essentially the final result. Basically a red brick type entrance. Looking at probably going to have to do some sidewalk pieces going around. And, thinking maybe go with the basic concrete by the parking lot. But overall keeping it where it is. And here's our little park bench area. Essentially, people can leave the park, have a little picnic out there instead of eating in the park. I know that seems counterintuitive to making money, but it's something that I say we as in my family does. Generally, anytime we ever do go to theme parks is we spend, the day in the park, obviously, but whenever it comes time to eating lunch and stuff, even with a meal pass, there's normally 6 or 7 of us, and so we always take sandwiches to go along with us to go out into the park. Now, we are starting to fence some of that stuff off as the park comes together and as we develop it. It's going to be really kind of closed out going the rest of the way, and we're going to see that come about as we get a lot of the actual park built. We will be having our first roller coaster built in this episode. It is just going to be the roller coaster build. None of the detailing that's going to go along with that. That will be the next time we do a live stream over on Twitch. So I will try to put that down in the description if I can remember to whenever I get this thing posted. So what you're seeing to do is kind of talk about mapping out the park and where are we going to go with it and how do we want this design to work, right? And this is a pretty basic mapping. The circle with one path going through the middle. What you're seeing right now is kind of how Six Flags Fiesta Texas is done. It's got the Goliath off to the left, and then the park extends further before you really kind of break out to the left section. And this is kind of what we're looking at, possible some path work going in that style, and then just having things cut off with the way the rides are done in between it, where we end up putting plazas in and all of that. It's really going to kind of come into play at that point. Now, the entrance is always going to be something for me that I kind of generally tend to struggle with. One is where do we, how do we want to break it out? I don't want to do the basic kind of, pool in the middle, right? Fountain kind of thing. I say basic, it just comes off and seems that way. So we are starting, I'm going to have a couple planners here, and we are going to, I don't know if I'm going to really have a Main Street kind of segment. But I'm going to kind of let the park develop to see how that goes, right? Now that's really what I'm thinking about, is let this kind of develop on its own as we build. Now, like I said, one thing I know that we are doing with this episode is we are going to put in the first roller coaster, and it's going to be off to the section we're kind of looking at right now. It is going to be raised up, and so that's where I plan to see a lot of the elevation changes. Not so much, I'll do some terrain work to make an elevation change happen. But for the most part, it's going to be really just, with the ride. Sometimes I'm going to lower it down. I might take out the whole segment of land and kind of lower it down and let the ride exist lower than everything else. But a lot of the times, it's also going to be raised up, which is what we're going to have there. What you see me putting in at this point is the sidewalk that's going to go around the parking lot. You don't want people walking across the parking lot, risk getting hit by cars. You park your car, go to the nearest sidewalk section, and kind of walk through that way. That's what we're doing. And then just really, like I said, just kind of fencing stuff off from the public and just getting this to extend on around. It is a lot of tedious work, but anybody who's played Planet Coaster knows Planet Coaster thrives on tedious work. Doing the advanced move tool and selecting the multiple stuff really helps it kind of go a lot quicker, so it doesn't take as long as normal, really. But had to do that because we are going to be putting in the first ride, and I think I'm also going to put in some staff building type sections over here, maybe just some backstage area stuff. going off in between. I'm going to kind of see how we really want to do it. The ride that we're going to look to put in, it is going to be a B&M, right? I mean, the B&M has that classic, whooshing sound that's really synonymous. It's synonymous with their coasters in general, but it's that sound that you get out of a park, you hear it. I'll take one example is Six Flags Over Texas. Being in Texas, I got two parks, Over Texas and Fiesta Texas. And in Over Texas, they've got their Goliath, which is the B&M. I guess it's a hyper coaster, is what it comes out to, and it's got that standard B&M sound that gets you amped up as soon as you hear it. You hear it go whooshing. That's a horrible example of it, but you hear it make that sound, and man, does it ever just click in your brain like, yes, that's the perfect thing right there. That's what you want to have, is that sound. So what we're doing here in this one is we are getting everything set up to kind of get going, because what we want to do is have it go out, and B&Ms generally have what amounts to, and I'm only going with a 30 degree. I thought about 45, but I stick to 30. And I don't want it to be too high at this point. It is going to have a lot of inversions in it, so I want it to fill into that open section over there on the side of the parking lot, so I do shift it out as we get this thing around. Never worry, there will be a POV at the end that is not sped up like this. The live stream took about a little over an hour, and this is sped up 4 times to cover about 15 minutes. So that's why it's going to look a little janky. You're going to see some quick ride-throughs on this thing. But I think one of the biggest parts of it, one, getting the turn going, the drop turn, because that's a lot of B&Ms have those, especially the ones that have looping. Thinking about it with Six Flags, with just Fiesta Texas, the floorless ride, the Superman, it's got that same kind of thing. So I figure that's a pretty standard B&M maneuver. So I do put that in. And then we start working on, one, how are we really going to deal with some G-forces in this thing? We're going to come across things like that. So we got to be able to deal with them. Now, I did have to go close the part for a minute, because I'm about to start hitting play. It's been on pause this whole time from the building, the entrance, and so forth. So I do close it so none of the people come walking up and get severely disappointed they can't even get to a ride that's testing. And that's the downside, that you have to unpause the game to test out the ride. And so we will play with the heights a lot and the block sections. I'm still trying to work that out in my mind. I've never been that great with the block sections. Just haven't. So I do try to work that stuff out, and I think I've got a pretty good way on how to deal with it kind of going forward from here. But that'll probably be in the next episode, or I might even do that off camera. Now, the Cobra roll is something that almost about every B&M has. It's an annoying feature. It's not the smoothest one in the world, but it's great for doing a turnaround and getting an inversion in there. And we're going to have a couple different iterations of it and sizes as we go through the testing. I just want to make sure that the speed hits all the way through. And then with Planet Coaster, I hate the supports. And no, I'm not going to do custom supports. I hate that. I don't mind the tediousness of it, like detailing type work, even though I'm not that good at it. I just am not at the stage where I can deal with doing custom supports. However, you take a couple pieces of track, remove the supports from them, it kind of limits what you actually have there. And I think it looks pretty damn good for the most part, to me at least. So here we've kind of fixed the Cobra roll to make it a little bit wider with the half loops, and so that's really what we do a lot of finagling of, is the speed to make sure we have enough. And you see me putting in block sections here. That's mainly just because I want to try and make it more realistic, try to fit some in. Although as I'm talking, I think I figured out how to work the block section. I think. I can't guarantee you, but I've got a feeling I know So I'll probably test that out some more off camera just to make sure I actually get it working. This is just strictly the building of this roller coaster. Like I said, in the next episode, it is going to be the detailing. I'm going to kind of work on the layout here, the terrain work within the ride. I don't want it to be just, a plain roller coaster out there. Coming out of the Cobra, rolling into it, probably will have some, head chopper kind of moments and stuff going forward. Try to add some elements in. I'm not sure of the name of the ride. I would definitely say if you got an idea for a name of it, put it down in the comments, and we'll see what we actually end up naming it, and that'll probably help out with the theming of it and when you break it all down. So keep that in mind. Definitely would want everybody to participate in the making of this park. So like I said, we do the live streams on Twitch. Here we got the YouTubes going for the recorded session. I did have to take out the audio because I had this weird audio malfunction in it. I got to go back to the other video and check to make sure that didn't happen to where everything just started playing over itself. If it did, I'm sorry. It is what it is for that one. I'll deal with it later, but can't fix it now. So that's just kind of how this thing is operating. I do like how we got this first ride in here, and like I said, this one is going to determine a lot for going towards this section. Whether it be the kind of buildings that we put in, and any flat rides or anything like that. Now, what I tried to do here was do the little B&M Helix with the sideways loop, because I hate the helixes they have, and it just wasn't working out. So forget the helix. We're going with the double corkscrew. And you'll see I do a lot of the inverted pieces or the game pieces. That's just how I operate with it. It looks better. It feels, for what I can create, it looks better. It's not that way for everybody. I completely understand that. It is what it is. But for me, that's the way it works the best. And so, that's pretty much how this happens in this one. Now, and the quick POVs, if you get motion sick, my bad. There's a lot of jankiness. I don't actually go through and smooth it out till the very end. So even the POV that you get isn't the smoothed out version. All right, that'll be on the next live stream. This next weekend, whenever we get that pushed out, is having the smooth version of it. So this is just kind of building it and connecting it up. The park, I think, is going to come along pretty smoothly for us. It should be something that I think I want everybody to participate in. So definitely put stuff down in comments, ideas, suggestions you have, ride names, theming that goes on. I don't have all of the packs purchased, but it's something that I think we'll make do with what I do have, right? Don't have all expansions, but we'll make it work out. And it flows pretty smooth going around. It's got good speed all the way through. That's a little tough, but it's got good speed all the way through. I might end up changing that just slightly as I make adjustments with the little whole block brake section, right? So yeah, that's what we got going on here. I'm going to go ahead and leave it off as we finish up these last few test runs, and then you will get your POV view here in just over a minute. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you have not hit it already. Give us a thumbs up if you're a fan of Planet Coaster, and definitely feel free to join us on Twitch. I should be doing a live stream next Saturday. I'll post that in the description as well. So as always, everybody, thanks for joining. I'll see y'all in the next episode. So stay safe, and well, y'all know how it goes by now, right? Later, y'all.